Welcome back. So now we have a UI ready for actually creating these addresses, and we have a UI ready for actually creating a customer. We have a service ready for actually creating these addresses on the back end. We have a save button ready, so everything should be up and running. When we click this save button right here, what should actually happen? We're going to, with the current solution, send 3 different requests to the backend right now. Because what we're going to do is first we're going to send a request with this address. We're going to send that to the backend, to the REST API, saying, I want to create a new address, because I need the ID for that address. So that's going to be the first request to the backend, and we'll get an address back from the backend with the ID. Sweet. Second request, sending this guy to the backend, getting the ID back. So now we have 2 IDs for 2 different addresses that are actually created now on the backend. Then we're going to take these 2 IDs that we just got back, put them inside an addressed IDs array, because that's what we need to put inside the customer. And now we have a customer object that's actually working with the current backend, and then we'll send that customer backend as the third request, that customer object as the third request to the backend when we actually do the save. That's 3 different requests for actually creating a single customer right now because of the way our backend works right now. In Series 5 we'll fix it, but I want you guys to see something pretty amazing and pretty strong in Angular, and that's why we're doing it this way. Before we do it in the next lesson, I want to just fix a few annoying errors we have right now. So first of all, let's jump into the code right here and add our new service inside the customer create component. So I'm jumping into the customer create component. I'm going to make a private address service because we need that when we press the save button to create a new customer now, right? We also need this service with the current setup, address service. There we go. So now we have the address service available. Now as soon as I put this in here, it will be dependency injected. But we can only dependency inject and use services this way if they are actually set up as providers in the app module. What does that mean? That means that right now, when I'm jumping into my code and looking in the console, you're getting an error looking something like this. No provider for address service. If you see errors like this, you just need to know that Angular expects that when you're using services or injectable components, call them what you want, a service, then you need to actually go into the app module and explain that this guy is actually something that's used for a provider. So jumping into the app module TS file right here, I have a customer service. You used that earlier, but I also need to put in the address service, and I also need to import. Remember, the import is also important. So you also need the actual import up here for that address service. There it is. Okay, so now that should be in there. So if I jump back now, there shouldn't be any errors anymore, and I can go back to the create page. Sweet, it's in there. So that's actually one error that I had. Another thing that I want you guys to know is I forgot to tell you one thing with the backend actually. So you made, if you already went and you made the new post request right here available using the REST API post, then you also need to enable CORS here. I forgot to do that in the last lesson. So go and add the enable CORS for the policy just like you did in the customer control right here. You have the same enable CORS, right? So you have to do that as well, else you'll get a CORS exception later on. Sweet. So those 2 out of the way, you guys kind of know what we want to do in the next lesson. Let's try and do it. Have fun.